Hey, before we jump into the video, I do want to give a huge shout out to Plant Cell Technology and also Plants in Jars, two plant tissue culture YouTube channels that have been massively helpful in getting the confidence to do what I'm doing and also building out this lab. They have heaps of tutorials on this stuff, and a lot of what I'm doing is following along some of the things that they've demonstrated. So yeah, I just want to give a huge shout out, and anything that I'm doing which replicates anything that they have done is not trying to be plagiarism. Fully trying to acknowledge sources here that I've followed those videos. I don't know if they'll ever watch this video, but hey, do want to have some academic integrity here, and shout out to those two channels, and also a huge thanks for helping me get the confidence to invest in what is quite a big sort of operation. Back to the video. So I've decided actually to quickly explain what plant tissue culture is for those of you who have stumbled very far down the YouTube rabbit holes and come across this video. For those of you who already know, feel free to skip ahead to me unboxing. So plant tissue culture is a way of growing plants essentially in sterile conditions. So we're doing micro-propagation in lab-controlled settings. Now, this differs from how you might normally propagate a plant, which might be in the garden, you know, taking cuttings or putting them in an aerocloner. And it's a more advanced kind of scientific pursuit of how to quickly clone plants. I've been reading up on this using this textbook as well as watching videos on YouTube. The technology isn't exactly very new. It's been around for quite a while, and it's very similar in a lot of ways to hydroponics, which is where my passion started. And commercially, this is used for a lot of plants. So it's used for blackberries, strawberries, raspberries. These plants are notoriously quite difficult to propagate in a disease and virus-free way. So doing it in a lab-controlled setting allows them to create plants that are uniform and genetically similar, well, genetically identical in fact, in a very quick way. So you can grow plants out for commercial enterprises. Small nurseries do this for rare houseplants or even just difficult to propagate plants such as orchids. So I'm just getting started, right? I'm going to be playing around with a few different houseplants. I'm then going to hopefully be able to do some more commercial applications. Today, I'm embarking on one of my dream projects, and that is to build a tissue culture laboratory at home. At the moment, doesn't look like much, but it will. If you've got your own ambitions to do this at home, and I'm not sure many people do, but hey, this is the internet, and I'm sure there's someone out there who may have an interest. So I'm going to document the whole process. You may be thinking, this looks a little suspect. He's in a grow tent. Well, this grow tent is being used today for actual scientific reasons. That is to keep dust and particles out of my sterile growing environment. I didn't have much space in the house, and the place that I do have space is just a dusty mess. So I decided to use one of these grow houses and repurpose it into a scientific laboratory. So come on a journey as we build a tissue culture laboratory inside a slightly suspicious looking grow tent. Well, I forgot to hit record, but I've unpacked the pressure cooker. That's the first thing I've bought myself as a little treat for my tissue culture lab. This is the All-American 75X. If you're wondering for specifics at home, probably should give this a read. You know, pressure cookers make me a bit nervous, but I've watched enough videos now of people being confident with their pressure cookers that I myself have decided to take the leap. So it also came with a little aluminum tray, aluminium, and I also added myself a little adjustable one as well, so I can do a couple of layers of tissue culture. Inside, got the lid, I've got the vessel, and there's a little stand that was included as well. Okay, there's quite a lot for me to read up on before I give this a go. Whee! I love it. More boxes have just arrived from Temu. Can you take a guess what it is? Pipettes rack. I'm going for a functional lab and well organized as well. My Pipettes rack from Temu Drone Lab. Not an ad, not sponsored. I don't know if it's any good. Don't just rush out and buy it because you watched some random guy on the internet. Does not have instructions. Thinking this goes here. Good enough for me. Pipettes rack. What I love about this is that it says this device complies with Part 15 of the FCC rules. Operation is subject to the following 2 conditions. 1. This device may not cause harmful interference. And 2. This device must accept any interference received, including interference that may cause undesired operation. I have no idea what that means. It's plastic. I hope that doesn't cause any interference. I'm sorry if the space shuttles crash. Let's keep going. Tips for the Pipettes. Here it is. I'm calling it a Pipette. It's actually a pipette. Pipette. Again, this is from Temu. You know, ordering from Temu is so sketchy, but how many factories in the world are making things like this? Like, surely it all comes from the same factory, and this is just like a sneaky home brand. All right, unboxing. Has instructions, I think. Not in English. No, definitely not in English, these ones. And you can adjust how much it's going to suck up. Very handy. There's more languages. Not really helpful for me. Will it be English? It is. Cool. Cool.
Yeah. Cool.
We will read this tonight. Add it to our list of manuals. I actually think these were free. I feel like I didn't pay for these. I bought some more, but I didn't realize it came with all these as well. Actually, not bad. So you can probably guess what this one's going to be as well. It's in the exact same box as the other one, right? So here I am thinking, sent me the wrong one. This is going to be annoying. I have to go back to China. But in the box, it's the one I ordered. So, you know, we trust them. This one didn't come in a bag. The other one, put these in the bag. Also, some more free tips, instructions, but not for this model. But I assume they're the same. You're thinking, all these tips, sure are going to make a mess of the lab. Before we open this box, a little tip box. Now, it wasn't clear in the ad if this was autoclavable. Let's go ahead and assume it isn't, but I don't need it for the autoclave. I just want it to be tidy. Did you order some tips? Need some shelves. Gonna need some shelves. Think we have enough of these. Oh, look at this. I love it. There's one left over. Came in a box for a Posh Deluxe liquid mixer. They must sell that as well. What else can we find out about it? Yeah, send me the box is for this brand here that it's coming. poshdeluxe.com.au. Posh Deluxe liquid mixer. Think I know where your mixers come from. Bigger tips. They can go away for now. All right, since we're here, I'll go through the other Temu items. Item 1 was the Orbital shaker. I probably went over the top buying this straight away, but it will be handy to have as I start sterilizing explant and things like that. Look, I haven't really given it a good go yet. Here is the box it came in. It actually was pretty well packaged. It does have an English user manual and an Australian power cable. You bloody ripper. Australian. User manual, pile of reading. Next one is the Bacti Zapper, the sterilizing tool for your tools inside your flow hood here. This one we can do an unboxing. Cool. Again, it's come nicely boxed. There it is. Australian. English, that's all that matters. All right, this is the last of the Temu lab equipment. This teeny tiny box, which is some stir bars for the magnetic stirrer. Spoilers. All right, guys, so there it is. There's my Temu lab equipment haul. Orbital shaker, Bacti zapper, magnetic stir bars, pipettes, boxes, extra tips. Not bad. Now, I was concerned with the Orbital shaker because on the Temu site, you know, it was discounted bloody 90%. So it was showing up as the value would have been more than what can come straight through customs, right? So I was worried about that, but came through, no worries. Didn't get pulled up, didn't have to pay any extra tariffs or anything on that one. That was my only worry. Everything else, so far, looking pretty good. Haven't turned it on. Not sponsored by these brands, so don't suggest that you should go out and just buy these. This is just what I've done because I'm trying to do it a little bit cost effectively. It might not look like it entirely at all times, but I am a little bit cost conscious. So just wanted to give these a test. Let us continue. Okay, so we're moving to my next supplier of lab equipment, which is Amazon.
Thank you, Jeff Bezos.
Interlab. This is the one you see on Plant Cell Technology, as well as Plants and Jars. I think they gave this a shout out. I followed the strangers on the internet's advice and just went out and bought it. Didn't even think, use my brain at all. But yeah, I did actually give this a little spin. That's why it's got a little circle on there. Yeah, it's actually very good. I wish I'd got one sooner for all the hydroponic stuff I do. This would be so good for just whipping up hydroponic nutrients instead of standing there and just stirring them. It came with a stir bar retriever, came with some little stir bars as well, but we've also got our Temu stir bars. Aussie power, very nice. I'm gonna put these over this side because actually that's where the autoclave is gonna go, and that side is where I'm gonna mix up everything. Rapid fire Amazon deliveries. We've got sterilizer pouches, little scissors, we've got spray bottle, gloves, surgical tray, long forceps that will go in the sterilizer pouches. Actually, I haven't checked if they fit. Don't worry about it. More stainless steel tray. 1mm syringes. Because I myself am not a scientist and prefer sometimes to use old analog things. But I won't need these because I think Temu has delivered 10mm ones, 3mm ones. These are actually also super useful for hydroponics when you're dealing with pH up and down. So I got a few more. These are sterilized as well, actually. It says they're individually wrapped and it says they are sterile. So maybe we'll be able to use these inside the flow hood thermometer because I wanted to know how hot it gets in my lab. It gets quite hot, which is a problem for the plants. Plants I don't think will be able to grow in this room. Okay, finishing up on Amazon. Face masks, another little spray bottle. Wash bottles, glass petri dishes, do not drop. Okay, this supplier is called LabDirect. They are an Australian company and they were very good. Some of these I've already unwrapped. Do not think that they just sent these Pyrex bottles like this. They did not. They all came beautifully wrapped like this, and this box is just full packing noodles, which are now on the ground. Let's go through it slowly. 2-litre Pyrex, wide mouth, couldn't get narrow mouths. 200ml Pyrex. Measuring tools, that's probably a little bit small. Might be all right. 2-litre beaker, 3 litres. This is the one I think Plants and Jars it recommends, but couldn't get it from Amazon in Australia. And also I loved it so much and thought it might be so useful for hydroponics that I got myself another one. 1-litre Pyrex beaker, 1-litre Pyrex, wide mouth. Couldn't get narrow mouth. Oh, I could get narrow. 1-litre narrow mouth. 250ml, these are cute. Little Pyrex go in the autoclave, another one of them, 2 of them. Big measury boy, 500ml Pyrex glass mouth for the autoclave. Wide mouth, glass mouth. Glass wide mouth. Autoclave it. Oh, I hate these packing noodles. All right, guys, let's unbox the glassware. I wonder if it'll fit in the autoclave. Oh, you beauty, that fits. That fits perfectly. Heaps of stuff in there. This was the right size, I think. All right, we're almost done with the unpacking, the unboxing. The last supplier is this VEVOR, which is another Chinese kind of brand. 2 things from them. Oh, this is gonna be a faff. First one, precision scales. In hydroponics, I don't need to be this precise, but I need to be more precise now. Also from VEVOR, I had to have it. Second magnetic stirrer. This also has a hot plate. All right, starting to look like a lab. I'm going to briefly talk about this Laminar flow hood. Now, arguably, this is probably one of the most important things that I had to buy. And it was actually pretty difficult. So I'm obviously based in Australia, and I just don't think there's that many people with this sort of technology who are geared up to selling it. I looked at all sorts of different brands. There's the one I went with, which was Air Science, which actually didn't come with the best reviews, but it was the one that I managed to get my hands on. So I had to compromise a little bit on this one. It wasn't probably the one I would have really liked in a perfect world. I probably would have preferred something like the Lab & Co, Baker, Laminar flow hoods, which come very highly regarded. There's also Esco, I think it was called. And I also got quotes from some that are made in China, some that are made in, I think it was Italy. Yeah, I basically got quotes on every single Laminar flow hood imaginable, shipped here in Australia. Difficulties in Australia is we obviously use the 220 volts or 240 volt power system. So I've got to make sure this is adapted for that. This one was sitting in a warehouse down in Melbourne. So it was actually very easy to get. It just got shipped up to me. It was actually here within probably a week of me committing to purchasing it, which was really good. So there were some other people who were going to have to import them from the US, or they were going to have to get shipped in from wherever they were manufactured. They weren't just sitting around on the shelf ready to go. Obviously, there is a secondhand market. So I reached out to all my local universities. I reached out to some decontamination companies as well, who like pull labs apart, decontaminate it, and then on-sell the hardware. They didn't have anything that they were aware of that was available right now that would fit my needs. And because I wanted to get this project up and running, I basically had to go for a brand new Air Science hood. And as I say, that is a bit of a privileged position that I was in, I guess, to be able to do that. But saying that, you've got to break a few eggs to make an omelette. Like, this is a critical part of the lab, right? And I've done mycology in the past, and I've fiddled around with still air boxes. And for what I want to achieve this year, that wasn't going to cut the mustard. And a little homemade unit probably would have been okay. And I guess I'm just starting out, so this might seem like an overinvestment. When I balanced all the pros and cons of what I could get, what I couldn't get, the fact this one was sitting ready to go, got to me in less than a week. It was actually delivered for another company who ordered, I think they said it was a huge amount of these, basically to fit out this big tissue culture lab that they were developing. And they had a couple actually left over from that fit out. So that's why this was just sitting in a warehouse ready to go. So I did get a good deal, I think. Still expensive bit of equipment. You're talking in Australia between $5,000 to $10,000 for something like this. All the quotes that I received had big confidentiality things on them, so I'm not going to get myself in trouble by saying any of the prices. But if you are interested, I guess the brands to look out for: Laminar, Baker, obviously the Air Science ones, Esco. I also reached out to a couple of Australian manufacturers. They were super friendly and super interested in what I was trying to do. They were just a little bit more expensive. I think if I ever upgraded though, I would seriously consider them, because the after sales service, I feel like, is going to be a game changer with a local Australian company. They're going to be able to come out and do all the testing, make sure it's meeting all the requirements, especially if you get your lab certified in the future. Who knows what this is going to be cranking out in terms of airflow and particle size. I mean, the salespeople were very good. They told me good things. Anyway, it's here now. It's what I've got. If you want me to do a deep dive into what the purchasing experience was like, let me know in the comments below, because I can talk a lot more about these laminar flow hoods. I've been through a big process to get this. Oh, I should say as well, I also got it with the stand on wheels, because I'm very conscious that hopefully I will outgrow this temporary space. And when I do, I want to be able to move it. It's 140 kilograms, I think. So getting it in here, we had a few lifts and stuff. The guys who delivered it were very excellent, very thorough. It's got a UV light, got obviously the fan. There's a couple of outlets in there, so I can put the Bacti Zapper in there. I can put some scales in there if I want. Yeah, but obviously this is a key piece of equipment for any tissue culture laboratory. You can't really operate at a commercial level or a bigger scale without something like this, I don't think. Some new shelving has arrived from Amazon. This is going to be very helpful, because all my vessels, as well as laboratory consumables, such as MS media and plant growth hormones, have just arrived. So shall we keep unpacking? So very quickly on the vessels, I've gone with 3 types of vessels: glass jars with polypropylene lids, PP. I've also gone with polycarbonate vessels, as well as just polypropylene vessels. So let me explain the difference very quickly. These are my polycarbonate vessels. As you can see, they're a really clear plastic. They are really aesthetically quite nice to look at. These are autoclavable, and they're just a slightly higher quality plastic than the polypropylene, at least that's what I was told. Obviously, the lower cost ones are the polypropylene. These polycarbonate ones were a little bit more expensive, but they are very nice. The polypropylene containers just look like little takeaway containers with a few different sizes for these. I think I've got 600 mil, and here are the smaller ones, 280 mils. Obviously they came with some lids as well, so they are good to go. Okay, back on the polycarbonate. These are just little polycarbonate test tubes. I went with these over glass because I'm just a klutz and I felt like I'll probably just smash glass test tubes. And I also got a little test tube rack for those as well. This may seem like overkill, but I also got some of these flip cap vessel containers. I've seen these being used kind of for other things as well, but these are sterile, so I'm gonna leave them in the bag for now. Found some more PP lids. All right. More lids. These are polypropylene lids. I don't think these are sterile yet, so, well, they're not sterile now. Okay, so these are a 63 millimeter lid. Now, I know people have mixed reviews on using glass. Like, a lot of people just want to use the polypropylene containers. They're cheap, you can throw them away. They're very good. I do prefer glass. It's reusable, and I did purchase myself, I know this sounds ridiculous, a little dishwasher. So I'm gonna be able to wash these up and reuse these for a long time, hopefully, if I don't drop them or smash them, which will fit those 63 millimeter caps, and then a little bit of film, and they are fully autoclavable. I got 2 boxes of 250 ml glass containers. I also got 2 boxes, which are stuck together, of 375 ml glass jars as well. The reason I bought just so much to begin with, without having ever done tissue culture before, is that the freight cost was very high. I live somewhere out of the way a little bit, so paying freight once always makes more sense whenever I'm doing anything, be it hydroponics and now tissue culture. If you underorder something that you know you're gonna use, you're just gonna end up paying that freight cost twice, and it adds up. In fact, for what it would have cost me to freight these again in the future, I've saved myself basically getting a freebie now, if that makes any sense at all.
That's my quant.
Okay, let's do some rapid fire lab consumables. Gloves for the autoclave, very long magnetic stir bar retriever, scalpel blade remover, so it's just a box to save yourself from stabbing yourself once you've used it. Obviously a scalpel, and as well as some more forceps and some scalpel blades. I also got this handy little tool rest. Hey, I may as well just get everything all at once, so that'll go inside the Laminar flow hood and can also be autoclaved in stainless steel. Some sealing film just to seal those jars. Can also, I think, use just normal Glad wrap, kitchen Glad wrap, or plastic wrap, some places call it. I think that's what most channels use, but hey, may as well get some of the proper stuff, and if I find that it's not working with the cheap home stuff, at least I've got some here. When I was shopping for the consumables, so the MS with vitamins, as well as the plant growth hormones, the supplier actually had in stock some from Plant Cell Technology, which I thought would be really hard to get in Australia, but is obviously very active on YouTube, so I'm super glad I found someone in Australia selling it. They also had the biocouplers, which I've seen on both the Plants in Jar YouTube channel as well as Plant Cell Technology. Look, I mean, at this point, why not? Why not get them? Why not? So yeah, I'll give them a try at some stage. They also had some of the containers from Plant Cell Technology. So I grabbed 2 of them, and they actually came in the kit. Like, they had everything you need to get started in plant tissue culture kit. So they came with that. Obviously 2 was not going to be enough, but hey, it'll be interesting to compare these to the polycarbonate ones I got from my wholesale supplier. Anyway, there's just something else to add up. All right, it's time to go to the fridge and see what media and other consumables I've got as well. So I've got an old refrigerator here, so these are outside near the lab, but definitely not mixing these with my home contents of my refrigerator. So yeah, we've got some of the Plant Cell Technology MS. We also got their IBA and BA, as well as a little bit extra MS that came in the starter kit. So the other supplier is obviously Phytech. So I also got IBA solution, 1 milligram per milliliter. Some other plant growth regulators. I got the Kinetin solution. We've also got their version of MS with vitamins. I think that's the NAA solution. They also sell ready to go mediums for other plants. So I just grabbed some of this olive medium because I've got some olive trees, so I can give them a quick go. And I also got some PPM, some plant preservative mixture. This comes from, I think, Plant Cell Technology. So it's the same as what's in this little jar that came with the starter kit. I've also got some sterile water in here just as something for the fridge to keep cold. Where I could, I've gone with the pre-mixed solutions just because I'm not a chemist and I don't have lab experience. Yeah, I've never had to mix up like solutions before solvents. So like when you watch Plant Cell Technology YouTubes, and yeah, thanks heaps for doing this. You know, this is a powder, so I will need to mix up a solvent in order to dissolve that into a solution. So that's probably where I'm going to have to start. I didn't want to have to do that, but anyway, I could only get the powdered forms of BA or BAP. So I will have to make some solvents using sodium hydroxide and potassium hydroxide, which we'll need to mix up. Okay, last few things here, just some bleach for when we sterilize explant, as well as the demineralized water. We've got a heap of things like ethanol, ethanol, Icepro alcohol, that's ethanol, Icepro alcohol 99%. Got agar from Plant Cell Technology. We got agar from Biotech Labs, and we also have some powder from Biotech Labs. Got some detergent for sterilizing X-Plant. This is Tween 20, as well as some Gelsin, because I wanted to compare Gelsin to agar. I think this one's clearer and will look a heap better in some of those nice vessels. Now, because I will need to mix up those solvents / pH adjusters, I will need some vessels for them. So I've just grabbed a few of these vessels from Amazon, kind of test tubes, centrifuge tubes, and they also have a flat bottom, so I shouldn't be knocking them around everywhere, hopefully. I only need 50 ml because as a solvent, I only use a very small amount to dissolve those plant growth hormones. So for this case, I just went with these 50 ml ones. I think they'll be pretty handy just to get started. We're in the nitty gritty, but these are little glass stirrers, again, for those solvents. Now, because we're dealing with such small amounts of plant growth regulators, I've seen a lot of people using little kits that have a whole bunch of different size spoons, so we can measure out tiny amounts of those plant growth hormones. And this is autoclave tape. I'm going to be using this to make sure that whatever goes in the autoclave does in fact get sterilized. So look, there's a few things still on the way. I've got a few little glass vessels just to put some of those solvents in. I've also got things like sterilization pouches, bigger sizes, but we've already talked about some of those things, so I'm not going to wait for them to arrive to finish up this video. So yeah, I've been pretty comprehensive in what I've got here. I think I've probably gone a little bit overboard. Other things that I might buy in the future are things like labelers, but for now I think I'll just use a Sharpie. Honestly, I've spent everything I've got on building this. Well, there you have it. It's been a longer video, I must say, but I think we're fully unpacked. I'll probably just have a bit of a clean up now, get a few things ready to go, make sure I've also got some safety equipment in here, perhaps a fire extinguisher, some fire blankets. Hopefully they wouldn't be needed, but best to have them ready in case I did need them. Yeah, and I think this is a fully set up tissue culture lab. So it'll be fun to see what we can produce in here. If you've got any recommendations what I should start with, some easy plans, drop them in the comments below. If you want to follow along this journey, I mean, who knows where it's going to take me. I mean, I've got enough equipment here to clone a small army of plants.
The council ever authorised the creation of a clone army?
No.
So any carnivorous plants you recommend? If you're a plant tissue culture specialist and want to send me some plants, that would be really great because, yeah, I've got no money left. Also, maybe if you could just hit subscribe or hit like, because maybe this channel will get monetized some point, and that'd be great because at the moment this is an expensive little hobby.